Alright guys, so in this video we're going to start by analyzing our competitors. This is usually the place where I like to begin when it comes to SEO. And the reason is because you can usually take SEO and bring it down to a specific process, and you can really look at what your competitors are doing and basically emulate them but do a little bit better, especially when it comes to local SEO. And you're going to find that local SEO is pretty easy in the grand scheme of things, especially when you compare it to other types of SEO out there like, affiliate or national SEO. Local is just much more predictable, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So I want to show you how to predict what it is you're going to have to do in order to get your client ranked. Okay, so that's what this series of videos are going to take you through. So let's talk about analyzing the competition. So go in and type in your keyword in your city of whatever industry you're working in. Let's just say, for example, I'm working with a plumber who's in Menominee Falls. And you always want to type in your geolocation into that search field as well, along with whatever your phrase is, because otherwise it's going to only show you results that are near your house or wherever you're searching from. So make sure you actually type in the city. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to go and look at some of the top results here, and we're going to try and reverse engineer what they're doing. Okay, so this is normally where I like to start. We're going to start with, we're not going to go after the directory sites like Home Advisor, Yellow Pages. You can just skip those. You can reverse engineer the map pack if you want. We're going to talk more about that in the next video, about kind of the map pack, and this is going to be kind of like a two-pronged approach. We're going to go after organic and map pack ranking, so I'm going to kind of cover both and interweave them together. But for now, we'll just come down to these listings and we'll kind of cover that in the next video, the map pack. So we're going to look at this Joe DeBellick because he's really the first one here other than Home Advisor. And obviously, sometimes you'll see ads. Sometimes you'll see ads in the map pack. Those are paid placements, so we're not concerned with those. We're only concerned with SEO. Okay, so let's click on this Joe DeBellick. We're going to open his up, and what we want to do is we want to start reverse engineering his website. We want to find out some of the reasons why he might be ranking and kind of the different things he's doing. So what we're going to start with first off is we're going to grab his URL, which is right here, and we're going to try and see if we can find a sitemap. Now what a sitemap is it's basically a list of every page on his site. And you don't have to do this step, but it really makes it a lot easier if you can find this, because you're going to know every page that's on a site. And usually you can determine what keywords that your competition is going after based on what pages they have on their site, because an ideal site is going to have a page created for every keyword they want to go after, or at least the general grand scheme of things. There could be slight variations of the keyword in one page, but you'll get the grand scheme helicopter overview of everything. So what I like to do is I like to take the URL and I like to type in robots.txt after it and hit enter. And what this is going to do is it's going to show some of the stuff that they disallow, like if they want Google not to search this stuff, but also sometimes it'll show what sitemap they have, if they have one. So it doesn't look like they have it pointed out for Google here, which is pretty important that people should. So if you see that they don't have it, that's usually a good indicator that they're not very good with SEO, that their SEO isn't on par. Otherwise, the other thing you can do is you can type in sitemap.xml. That's usually the default place where most people put it. Again, if you get something like this where they just don't have it, it's usually a pretty good indicator that they probably don't know what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a sitemap to do SEO. I've done lots of sites without sitemaps, but it's pretty standard. It's a pretty standard thing to make Google able to crawl the site easier to have that. So that's usually a good indicator to me that, okay, they're probably not doing that great with SEO, and now I'm going to have to go through their pages and look manually. So what I'm looking at is their on-page stuff. I want to see, do they have a lot of keywords in here with locations? Are they like bolding and italicizing them? And I mean, I can see they've got plumbing, heating, and air conditioning here. They've got Wisconsin there, so that's good. They have some kind of like bullets down here, but I mean, really not. It's not really keyword centric. Like I would expect to see, plumber West Bend or plumber Milwaukee or plumber where are they targeting? Menominee Falls. I would expect to see more stuff like that. They do have their name, address, and phone number in their sidebar or on their footer. That's always a good thing to look for. You're going to usually want that on your sites. So right here on the right hand side. But then I would just start coming in and looking at some of the other pages on their site. And I want to see, how much content do they have? A good SEO'd site usually has at least 300 to 500 words on each page. It's probably is about 150 words. You could look, minus all these bullet points, but if you look at just kind of like this in general, not that great content-wise in my opinion. And usually a good SEO'd site will have links on these pages, linking somewhere, usually back to the home page or to the next page in their site if they're doing it that way. They don't have that here. So again, it's another indicator to me that it's just not very well SEO'd. So those are kind of the things I'm looking for. Now there's another thing that you can do. There's this plugin called Keywords Everywhere. I'll actually go and show you what the site looks like. So this is the plugin here. It's Keywords Everywhere. And I would recommend downloading this plugin. It's free for Chrome and Firefox. And let me show you what this plugin does. It does a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about in future videos. But for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this little K icon after you set it up. And I'm not going to go through how to set it up. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can hit this install button and then you hit get your free API key. Follow the directions that they email you. If you have any trouble, you can always reach out to the support desk, but I don't think you will. From that point, you're going to hit the K icon up here, and we're going to hit Analyze this page. And what Keywords Everywhere is going to do is it's going to show you some of the main keywords that they're going after. So you can see here that they have plumbing and heating mentioned a lot on their page. Plumbing, heating, air conditioning mentioned a lot. It's also been including in the heading tag, the H1 tag. That's what that stands for. And then here as well, found in the page title and the H1 tag. So plumbing. So we can kind of get a grand scheme overview of what they're doing. And it just kind of gives us a general overview of kind of their general strategy here. So that's competition number one. Let's go back and maybe look at the next competitor and see what we can dig up on them. Okay, so next up would be this Citer. Now, check this out. They're actually ranking for a separate location page. You can see here in their URL it says Menominee Falls location. So they're kind of doing a little bit different approach. They're going multi-location, meaning they're ranking pages for multiple points throughout the city. And you can see that their optimization already, just on this page alone, looks a lot better. They've got stuff linking out to different pages on their website here. Electrical services, again, they're optimizing a lot more here, and they're linking out to these other pages on their site. So let's do the little test for these guys and see what they have going on. So we're going to do the robots.txt test and see if they have a sitemap. Okay, they don't have the sitemap included. They do have some disallows, and we can tell it's a WordPress site as well because the disallows WP admin, so it's just a little security thing. Let's go and do sitemap.xml and see if it's located there, just for the heck of it. Okay, they don't have it located there. That's all right. We can just start going through their site and kind of looking at things. I'm actually quite surprised that this one doesn't have a sitemap because looking at it right off the bat, they're looking like they're pretty well optimized. Let's run the Keywords Everywhere analyzing thing and see what comes up. Okay, so this is pretty big right here. You can see that they have this turn right onto, and they have it here too, right onto, turn right. Okay, so what this tells me is that they probably have some sort of driving instructions on this page, and they actually do right here. What they're doing here is they're trying to show Google that they're relevant geographically to the area. So they actually are putting these driving instructions right on the page, which is probably the main reason why they're ranking. We'll talk more about this as we get into things, but when you see stuff like this, like driving directions, that's going to also indicate that you're dealing with a niche, or niche, however you want to say it, that has some people in it that know what they're doing. So we can assume that this competitor here probably knows what they're doing, and we may want to look into them a little bit further. So we'll remember that one, and we'll do one more. And just stick it out with me on this video, guys. I know we're being a little bit repetitive here, but I just kind of want to follow through and kind of show you the full approach as my workflow as I work through this stuff, because we're going to get into a little bit more in this video. So it's going to be a little bit longer than probably some of the typical videos, but it's good information. Okay, so mid-city plumbing and heating. They look a little less optimized than the last one. You know, they don't have things like the driving directions. I don't even really see a citation, the name, address, and phone number in the footer like the other two sites had, or on the sidebar even. Let's just do the robots.txt. None of these guys so far have had sitemaps, which I'm pretty amazed by. So they have a sitemap, it just wasn't there. So when I did sitemap.xml, so we can actually see all the different pages they have created. So if I came in here and they had like, you know, 50 pages created, that's going to let me know that I've got a lot of pages to create on my site. But when I see something like this, where I see they only have about 15 pages, you can see here kind of what stuff they're targeting by looking at it. Repairs a water main for Milwaukee Waterworks, so maybe they're targeting Milwaukee and repairs, something like that. Let's see, what else do they have? Estimate services. Other than that, they're mostly like about us stuff. Here, HVAC, so they're going after HVAC, they're going after plumbing keywords. Sewer water underground. Okay, so this gives me a good idea of what kind of keywords they're going after and what separate pages they're creating. And this is why I like to look for the sitemap. So I'm glad that we went and actually dug up one more competitor to kind of really dig into what they're doing. So let's go and actually look at one of these pages. Let's look at their HVAC page. Okay, not much content on there at all. Again, signifies that competition's not so great. Like if I were to come on here and they'd have a 500-page article written, you know, really well optimized with pictures and links and stuff like that, that would indicate to me that these guys probably know what they're doing. But I mean, in this case, they don't. And you could analyze the keywords again like we did with the other two. But let's move on to the next step on what I would kind of do next here. So the next thing I would do is I would take the URL and the root URL, depending on which one's ranked, really. So in this case, they were ranked for their root URL. When we looked at that other site, the Citer site, they were ranked for their Menominee Falls location. So you could probably start with that. So just take whatever URL is ranked in Google. But in this case, it was the root URL. And there's different tools you can use. The one I'm going to be using today, I'll be using a couple different ones, but I wanted to show you this one because this one is free, Open Link Profiler. What this site does is it analyzes your backlinks. So we're going to actually look at the backlinks the competitor has, and we're going to get into more detail on that in more videos, but really in this video we're just strictly doing this for analysis sakes to analyze what they're doing. So we really just kind of want to look at the number. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in their URL here, we're going to hit get backlink data. And what we're looking for is the number of links that they have, and you can see right here the total backlinks that they have are 19. And we can scroll down now and we can kind of look at what backlinks they have. So we could get a feel just by looking at this, you know, what backlinks they have and if they're going to be hard to get. So I recognize yellowpages.com. I know we would probably get a backlink there, not a big deal. And I can just kind of get a feel for that. Now, if I were to come on here and I would see something like a big college university or something like that, that might signify to me that's a very authoritative link that might be hard for me to get. And it just gives me some guidance, but for the most part, like 19 active links, not very much. And the unique active links is 7, meaning that there's a lot of duplicates. If you look, some of these are the same, building Wisconsin, you know, so they have links, multiple links on that one site. Maybe they have them on different pages or something like that. Okay, so SEO Profiler or openlinkprofiler.org is a free tool. A paid tool that you could use is Majestic, and I use this one as well. I'll show you some other ones too. You know, there's going to be some variations. They've got 13 pegged for them. They've got 7. So some slight variations there, but when you're first starting off, do I think that you can probably get by using openlinkprofiler.org? I think so, especially for local. As you start to look into other tools though, as you start to, you know, get serious about it, some tools you might want to look into. I think the very best one is SEMrush. You could look into them. I really like Majestic a lot for the fact of how they lay things out. I really like their trust flow and citation flow metrics because I can quickly look at these two metrics, and if they're really far apart, like they are in this example, it gives me a signal to know that their backlink profile isn't that strong, meaning that their backlinks aren't that great, the backlinks that they do have. So that would right there indicate to me that these 13 backlinks that they do have aren't very good because it's so far. Now, if the trust flow and citation flow were both like around 20, that would indicate to me that these 13 backlinks are probably really good backlinks. So I like that. I like Majestic for that reason. So you're going to like these different services for different reasons. Ahrefs, they basically kind of have the same thing. They have their own kind of scale, UR and DR. So it's just preference. Moz has one too. I like a lot of Moz stuff, but Open Site Explorer is one. And a lot of these tools have free trials. They have a 7-day trial at the time of shooting this video. This one has a 30-day trial at the time of shooting this video. But again, if you're just getting started, OpenLink Profiler is going to be plenty good to just kind of judge the competition. So I feel pretty confident looking at this industry right now. So based on that information, that's kind of what I look for when I'm deciding to enter a niche or when I'm starting to work with a new client. You know, maybe I find a client who I'm already set with working on. This is kind of where I begin. I begin right here and I start looking at what the competition is doing. Do I need to create a big site with a lot of content, with a lot of pages, or am I good with creating a smaller site with not that many pages? And in this example, I'd be fine with creating a smaller site, just targeting a few different keywords and just focusing on that, and I'm probably going to be good to go.